Hi, it's Fred here again. It's been raining cats and dogs, so I moved the video production inside to my garage, which is kind of a mess. Sorry about that, but at least it gives me a way to make a video. And today what I want to do is talk about overquilts. I'm a hammock camper, and the new hot items are to get underquilts for your hammock, and also to get an overquilt. One of the things about hammock camping is hammocks are really comfortable, and when you sit and lay in them, they're really comfortable, but if it gets cold, you've got to keep yourself warm. Underquilts are used to warm the bottom of the hammock, but an overquilt is kind of like a blanket that you put over you on top of you in the hammock. It's a little different than a sleeping bag. In fact, getting into a sleeping bag is not real easy in a hammock. The first time I did it, I think I was trying to get into a mummy bag, and I think it took me 10 or 15 minutes for me to actually get in it and work out right. And then I still wasn't really comfortable. So I want to talk a little bit about overquilts today and give you a range of possibly what you can do. Most of you know that I'm a camper, and I love to camp, and I love to go hammock camping. But one of the things that I'm kind of against is spending a ton of money. I'm a retired school teacher who actually has gone back to work, and I'm teaching again. But, I don't have a ton of money. I'm kind of like, I've got plenty of money. I'm fine. I'm richer than probably 95% of the world. But when it comes to camping, I don't have money to just blow on different things. And when you start talking about overquilts, you can get into some serious money. Now, I'm going to show you first the overquilt that I just bought just this last spring. And this is the overquilt from Perea. It is the extra long version of the 15-degree overquilt. And I think the cost was $159 or $169, something like that. They have a 30-degree overquilt as well, and that one I think is about $140, $145. Now that's a pretty good investment. I don't typically invest more than $100 in much of what I buy. And so I decided to go ahead and get this, and there's several reasons why. This is filled with down, so it's a lot lighter. And as I get older, I just, I'm trying to keep my pack as light as I can. It's getting a little harder to carry those things uphill than what it was like even 5 years ago. And so we're trying to lighten things up. And of course, down fill is really good. This is a very light pack. I forget the exact weight on it. You can look it up at Perea's website. But there's a couple things about it that you are maybe a little different than sleeping bags. First of all, it kind of unfolds, and you can unfold the thing and unzip it down at the bottom here. You can actually unzip it and actually turn it into, it just looks like a quilt, just a square quilt, and you can just put that over top of you in the hammock. And lots of people do that, and that's fine. Now, as some of you know, if you've watched my channel at all, I'm a diabetic, and so one of the things I have to worry about is getting my feet and keeping them warm. The reason why I basically bought this is because it has this really nice little bottom footbox down at the bottom. It has a zipper on it, as you can see here, and you can actually unzip that and open it right up, or you can zip it up. And then on the end, it has some cinch cords here that you can just cinch that thing up. You can pull those cords together. I can get them here. There's the other one. And you can just cinch this thing right up so that the bottom comes nice and tight. Or if you are kind of warm and your feet are warm enough and you want to have a little air in them, you can get them like this. So the end of it looks kind of like this. Okay. This is really nice. I have used this several times. I've used it not down to 15 degrees like it's rated, but I've used it down in the mid-30s, and it was very warm. I mean, really extremely warm. Really kept my feet warm, and that was the real reason I got it. So what you basically do is you put zip this up, and then what you do is you hop in the hammock, and you put that thing down near the end, and you put your feet in the foot box. And then after you put it in the foot box, then you just pull this up around your shoulders, and then you've got this wonderful, nice, warm down, basically jacket kind of thing that's fitting over you. It's almost like having a down quilt. And it's really comfortable. This is wide enough that you can get it, tuck it around your shoulders. You can even do this if you're not only in the hammock, like let's say you're sitting in a chair or on a log or something like that, waiting for your breakfast to cook in the morning and it's a cold morning. You can even take it out and you could use it kind of like a quilt to kind of keep you warm. I was watching a video with the Shill brothers the other day, and I noticed that they had some kind of quilt or something that they were using as they were around the fire out in the Colorado Trail. So it's really nice for that as well. But this one has snaps, so you can actually snap it all the way up. And you can see these little snaps here. And they just, go together. There's a little snap button there. And you can just snap them all the way up. And then it almost acts like a down quilt or a mummy quilt, except it doesn't go over your head. But it does have another shock cord at the top. So you can actually pull that up and you can kind of get it to fit over your head. And so it's a really, really great bag. Again, the nice thing about it is it's lightweight, and down for its weight gives you the best warmth. Of course, if it gets wet, down, of course, that's the big downfall of down. If you get it wet, it doesn't keep its loft very much. And so, of course, then it doesn't keep you very warm. But if you can keep the things dry, it's a great product. And I really like Perea's product. They have a great service department, too, and they have a great guarantee. I would really highly recommend getting this. However, I got it now because I've been camping for like a couple of years in my hammock, and I just thought, like, okay, it's time to try this and do that because it's a little bit more comfortable. But before I actually did that, what I decided to do was I would use a cheap hack. Now, this is I think it's an Ozark Sleeping Bag. It's just a cheap sleeping bag. I got it for sale at Walmart for, I think, $18. It wasn't really a heavy one. It's a 50-degree bag, so it doesn't take you down real far. But, of course, in hammock camping, if you're out in 50-degree weather, this is going to keep you warm on the top anyways. And so I brought this. Now, this works just like the hammock. I can unzip this whole thing, okay? And if I unzip the whole thing, it just goes out flat like a quilt. And so, again, the quilt's nice and wide here. I always try to get some that are wider because I'm a pretty wide person. And so you can just use it as a normal quilt and just put it over you in the hammock. But also, it doesn't really have a foot box. But it does have, you can zip it up about part way. And so what I usually do is I'll zip it up. Here's the bottom corner, and here's the zipper. And I'll usually zip all the end up and then do this. And then I'll put my feet in here. This is my foot box. Now, it's not a nice foot box. It's not smaller, so you can get some draft in it and stuff like that. But it keeps your feet warm. And again, then I just use this just like I use the Perea Overquilt. I put my feet down in that little box first, and that keeps my feet inside, and it's warmer that way. And again, I like to have my feet warm, and then you just pull this up over you just like the other one. And this works great. Now, the difference is this only cost $18. The other one cost $150 some. If you're just starting camping and you're just starting hammocking and you're looking at doing an overquilt, I would suggest just getting something cheap like this, one that will unzip completely, but then you can zip it up and use that partial part as a foot box and try it and see if you like it. If you really, really like it, then if you want to get into some colder things, then you're going to have to get a better sleeping bag. But, I've been using this as kind of an overquilt for, 6 or 8 months, and it worked great. So just to let you know, this is what I call a cheap hack, okay? But it works really good. And if you don't have a ton of money to invest in a really high-quality overquilt, this will do you, and it will work very well. And you could actually combine 2 of these, and you could probably get down to like 30 or 25 degrees. So, those are some options that you might have. Now, I like to winter camp, and so when I go winter camping, that, this is obviously not going to make it if I've got temperatures down around, like 5 or 10 degrees, okay? So I have mine. It's a 15 quilt, that Perea, and probably if I put this red one over top of that, I could probably extend it another 15 degrees just using those two, okay? But another option that I have is I have this great big Field and Stream 0-degree mummy bag. And there's my 0-degree, so you can see I'm not lying to you, okay? And again, it's a mummy bag, so it just looks like a mummy bag. You can unzip the mummy bag, and when you unzip it, you get down to the bottom here, okay? And it doesn't unzip all the way. This is a mummy bag. So again, now I have this little thing down here at the bottom, and it's basically a footbox. Now this footbox is really nice. It's got some extra stuff in there to keep your feet really, really warm on really cold nights. And this is a mummy bag, so I've used it on the ground as a ground dweller. I had a pad underneath of it, and then I used this and just slept in a mummy bag. And I've had this down to like at least, I think 8 below or 9 below degrees. And it's only a 0-degree bag, and I kept very, very warm in it. Sometimes I put a little liner in it that just because of the feel of it is better. But basically, I can use this as an overquilt too. Okay. Now, the thing I like about this one is this is filled with hollow fill. It's a synthetic material, and it's basically these little noodle-like things, and they have a hole in the middle, and they don't crunch. So what happens is even if you fill that space with water, what happens is it still can keep you warm because the space doesn't fold down like, say, a wet down thing does. So what I can do is, if I know it's going to be really, really a damp or wet conditions, or maybe my tarp I've been having problems with or something, and I'm a little worried about getting wet, I could take this and I wouldn't worry about it. Now, the trade-off is this is a lot heavier. I think the Paria bag is only like, I want to say it's like 3 pounds or something like that, 2.5, 3 pounds for the down in there. This one is like I think it's almost 5 pounds, okay? So it's pretty heavy. That's the trade-off. But then again, in the winter, you typically do take more heavier items. That's why I have my Coyote, my Kelty Coyote pack, because I want to do winter camping, and so I have a bigger pack just because that way I can carry a little bit more if I need to. But this works the same way. I can put my feet, I can put this in, hop in my hammock, put my feet in the foot box. It's not really a foot box, but it kind of is. Okay, put my feet in the foot box, and now I pull this up, and I just pull it back up over here, and here I am again. I've got this nice thing that comes up over me, and it's really, really warm, and this baby is really, really warm. And so that's a third option that you can do. Now this one, my daughters got it for me for Christmas a couple years ago, and they got it on sale. It's about $135 or $140 bag normally, and I think they got it for $69 on sale. If you just watch the sales at the end of the year, usually they put this on sale almost every year, $69 or $79, and you can pick it up for that. Now that's a lot cheaper than my other bag, and this is for a down, a mummy situation, so it can go to the ground and actually act as a mummy thing as well. So if you didn't have a hammock and you wanted to do it this way, the first time, maybe you're just starting out, well, you could try this as an overquilt and just see. So here's the options. I mean, here's a really warm overquilt. It's just a hack, kind of. It's not really an overquilt, but you can certainly make it act like one. That's about 60, 70, probably 70 to 80 bucks. You got the really cheap hack for, if you're 50 degrees or above, you could probably squeeze this down to 45 or something like that. I could anyways. And so that's a really cheap hack. That's only $18 or $20, okay? And then you have a nice overquilt, a quality one, but a fairly inexpensive one. There are other companies that make overquilts, and some of them cost $200, $250. And quite frankly, they don't take you down hardly any farther than this one. I really do like the Perea company, and I really think it's a good company and a quality company. So my suggestion would be, try this if you can afford it. But if you can't afford this, you're not really sure if you want to go that quilt way, or you would rather be in a sleeping bag or something like that, well, that's okay. Get something cheap and try it first and see if you like it. And, you know, I really got along with this for about, I don't know, it was 6 or 7 months. I used this as kind of like an overquilt until I finally got enough money ahead and saved and bought that. So, you know, I don't know. I hope you find this helpful. It's what I say. It's a cheap hack. This is a hack to do that, and the other one is a hack to do it with a heavier thing. And this is probably, I think, one of the best products on the market if you're going to actually go a quality over hammock or over quilt. And this particular one is probably going to run you about $150 to $160. All right. Well, hopefully some of you can try some of that stuff out. If you check my last couple of videos, I actually did do a little bit of review about this hammock and show you some conditions that you could use the Overquilt, the Perea Overquilt in it. So you might want to check those out. Again, as always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video, and hope to see you on the trail.